What's the most controversial thing you've ever done? On my first day of senior year, I was standing in the hallway when my ex walked past holding hands with the guy she cheated on me with. My friends instantly laughed and said, "Damn bro, you used to be able to get any girl. You really fell off." I blurted, "I can pull anyone in this school if I wanted." One of them pointed across the hall at the pretty brunette sitting alone on a bench reading a book. We nicknamed her Ice Queen because any guy that tried to talk to her got rejected or ignored. Here's a bet. If you get her to go on a date with you, I'll give you $400 and my AirPods. If you lose, you have to admit that you peaked in sophomore year. Okay, I said with full confidence. The next day, I approached the Ice Queen the way I always approached girls. Confident, charming. "Hey," I said, smirking. No response. I pretended to fidget with my BMW car keys, trying to show her my parents are rich. She didn't even react before walking away, so I tried again a few days later from a different angle. She was sitting alone at lunch, and my boys watched me sit beside her. "Is that Jane Austen?" I asked, pretending to be interested in the book she was reading. "I love that you read during lunch." She saw right through it immediately, looked me dead in the eyes, and said, "You're not interesting. You're just loud." Then she went back to reading. I started paying attention to her after that. I noticed she ate lunch alone every day, but never seemed lonely. She was always reading, and sometimes she'd smile at nothing like the book told her a secret. I wanted to know what made her smile like that. I came up with another reason to talk to her. It was after school, and I saw her drawing in her notebook. "What are you drawing?" I asked, and I found myself genuinely wanting to know the answer. She looked suspicious at first, but eventually answered, "A falcon. It's the only bird that always returns home." I smiled. That was our first real conversation. Over the next few weeks, we kept running into each other. Some of it was accidental, some of it wasn't. Each time we talked a little longer. Each time I learned something new. Then one afternoon, I saw her in the park, feeding oats to the ducks. Of course, only she would do something like that. My friends weren't around. No one was. But I still walked over to her and started a conversation. "Why do you always spend your time alone?" I asked. She looked at me like she didn't expect me to ask so bluntly. "It's better this way," she said quietly. I kept pushing. "But why not let people in?" She laughed, but it sounded empty. She asked, "Are your parents alive?" I scrunched up my face in confusion. "Yeah, why?" She laughed again. "If your mom abandoned you when you were a baby, and your dad who loved you was killed by a drunk driver, how would you spend your time?" My stomach twisted. I had no idea what to say. "I'm so sorry." She spoke again, nudging me with her elbow playfully. "Cheer up, loser. At least I like talking to you." I smiled. "You are too." And this time I meant it. She giggled, and that's when I felt it. My heart fluttered in my chest, like my heart forgot how to beat for a second. That's when I knew I was in trouble. I found my friends that week and told them the bet was off. "Dude, I knew you couldn't do it," one of my friends said, laughing. Another one chimed in, "Told you. You're washed and probably gonna die a virgin." I just walked away without saying a word, because I knew something they didn't. This wasn't about them anymore. I found the pretty brunette after school the next day. She was back by the pond, this time feeding them peas. I asked, "Hey, can we talk for a sec?" She could tell something was different because her guard went up immediately. "Yeah," she said, in that cold voice she used when we first met. I told her everything. It all came pouring out at once. The bet, why it started, how my friends made me feel small and I needed to prove something. My voice cracked when I said it because I hated how it sounded out loud. She was quiet for a long moment, then she laughed, slow and quiet at first. But soon she was clutching her stomach, and I felt sick waiting for her to say something. Then, in between taking deep breaths while she laughed, she spoke. I know, my stomach dropped, but before I could say anything, she continued, "But I also know something else." I turned to look at her, and she blushed when our eyes locked. I asked, "What is it?" She smiled that smile that I love. "I know that it stopped being a bet for you." I looked at her and asked the only question that mattered. "Do you like me back?" She looked at me for what felt like forever, and I felt stupid. Then she smiled. "Yeah, I do." Fast forward 15 years, and we just told our daughter the story of how we met.